Well, we've been speaking with someone who experienced independence. Let's change the demographic now and speak to someone much younger who got independence, who experienced, who was born 20 years after independence. Honorable Sesi, first of all, happy birthday to you. You've just turned 40. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Thank you for having me on your program.
I'd like to think you're excited about independence. I don't know what the perception is around you, but let me ask you the question as we speak about independence. You've listened to Professor Patu Tomi. He's not in our age group, but he's spoken from a perspective that almost suggests that he's disappointed in the state of the country or the growth rate of the country 65 years after. Are you excited for 65 or disappointed?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Terry. And I listened to our leader, and, which is Prof. And I would say that in as much as we are not where we want to be, we are also, it's important that we also concentrate on the few things that we've been doing right. 65 years is a lot, independence, but to trace the beginning of our nation's story, a trajectory of trials, forged fire, progress, east, through perseverance, and in the future beckoning with promise. We know there is still a lot that we can achieve, but are we making progress? The answer is yes. Can we do more? The answer is yes. And what are we doing? I believe over the years, if you look into our trajectory, and from 1960 when the flag, the green, white, green rose, Nigeria has been a canvas of ambition and adversity. We've grown from 45 million souls to over 230 million today, Africa's most populous nation. So GDP is growing. That's over $400 billion. It's a time to reflect on where we soared and stumbled and steadied ourselves, and we'll end with a vision that is clear. I mean, a clearer vision for tomorrow.
All right. As a young person who's privileged enough to be in politics, I'd like to think that you've been able to see Nigeria from at least two perspectives, outside and inside politics. And if you could take a look, if you could reminisce on what it was for you as a young person growing up, how Nigeria was, the political space, and what it is now that you've experienced so far in the last 2 years of being in the House of Representatives, could you talk to us about this aspect of positive or negative growth, which you mentioned in your opening statement?
Like I said, even though we are not, I'm not as old as Prof, but the little I've experienced thus far, gives me hope. If people like as young as us can have so much hope in the country, some of us came back to this because we believe that this is where the future lies, and believe that the country that we pray for can only be achieved if only we empower ourselves as youth and we get actively involved. And the past 2 years, we see a lot of investment from this administration, especially targeted towards the youth, because we believe that the future that we emphasize, the future that we talk about, I would say has gone past the age group of Prof, and I'm sure Prof is looking towards our own generation to see how we can activate the glory of this country, and we believe that looking at the direction of this current administration, we believe that the nearest future
Yes.
would you have most of the things that we clamor for,
All right.
most of the development that we crave for, most of the growth
All right.
that we envisage. We will see them come to fruition.
All right, Honorable Sassi, I'm trying to have this conversation in the simplest form and make sure that the people out there understand whether or not we've made progress. And you've talked about the involvement of young people and the expectations they should have. Just so it doesn't sound political, I want to ask you, because one of the problems, you also talked about Prof, looking up to us, this younger generation, to do a little differently. And there's a greater awareness among the young people now in terms of what the political class does and how they lead. And that's why you hear young people threaten to not vote when the next election comes. But one thing is very important: holding political leaders, elected officials accountable. As a young person, do you think that the young people, this generation, is holding the political class accountable? I know how, I don't know how you take that as a politician, but then you're still a young person, and I'm not trying to have the conversation using our demographic now.
Are we taking the current political office holders? Are we holding them accountable? It all depends on how you see it, or the context at which we want to frame the question. Looking at myself, I believe at some point, the only way I can encourage the youth or my own constituents to get involved and hold the political office holders accountable is by us getting involved. And that is what led to someone like us getting involved. Because I was actually done with sitting outside and complaining. We believe that if truly we have what it takes to lead, if truly we have what it takes to participate in the leadership of and the growth of this country, the answer is not by not voting. The answer is not by staying outside and criticizing or critiquing the government. The answer is getting involved and actively getting involved. And there are so many ways we can take charge. And it's not only by protest. It's not only by being strategic. That is why I try to tell a few of my contemporaries to see. You can be on the other side and be complaining, and that complaint can go on for years, and nothing will change. But if truly you believe that we can do better as a nation, and we see ourselves as the answer, the next thing to do is to be involved. The next thing to do is to actively get ourselves equipped with the knowledge and the skill of leadership. And that is what I've been doing. I find myself with the opportunity of being here today. So what I can do is to also invest in my youth and let them know the reason why they need to be actively involved in the governance of this great nation.
When you say actively involved, could you specify? Because I know we all can't be in politics.
Politics is not the only way to fix the country. Let's take our economy for instance. I try to analyze where we are as a country when it comes to our economy, and I try to spell it boldly. Let's see, the government might not be business of doing business, but what we can do as a government is to create a platform, enabling platform where private sector can thrive. And over the past 2 years, what this current administration has done is to stabilize the economy, is to push an enabling society where private sector can come in, or that will be encouraging for private individuals, foreign investors, And the only thing we can do as a government is to create the platform, which we are trying to do. The economy has been relatively stable for the past 2 years. And as an investor or private sector, what you need to run a business is a stable economy where you can project into the future. And that is what we've done so far. So now what is the next stage? Next stage is for us to look into this society, into this sector, into our country, and see how we can get involved. We are opening up the economy. Now identifying these potentials and these opportunities is vested more in the private sector, and we believe we are on the right channel, we're on the right path. We don't need to be actively involved in politics before we can fix our country, or before we can get involved in fixing or developing our country.
Well,
there are so many ways that we can get involved, not just by politics.
Very well then. So when we talk about fixing the country, one thing stands out, and it's corruption. It's perhaps the biggest cankerworm in Nigeria's progress, developmental growth. Now, as a politician, and I always want to lay emphasis on the fact that you were not there. You only just got into this position about 2 years ago. So I'd like to think that you had concerns and you had ideas of what could be or what you intended to change when you got into power, when you do get into power. 65 years after fighting corruption, what do you make of our fight against corruption, especially considering the fact that you are a politician and the perception is that the political class is highly corrupt in Nigeria? Is that what you've come to see? I wouldn't ask you directly if you're corrupt, because I don't expect you to say you are. But I would want you to speak from a politician's standpoint, whom I believe wants to do right by the country. What are your thoughts about Nigeria's fight against corruption in 65 years? What do you think we've got wrong? And as we go forward, 65 years after, what do you think we can do better?
So getting into this space, I have a different perspective, that different from what I used to share before assuming this office. When you say corruption, is relative, anyways, and I believe it takes more than politician, to run a political cartel. So many wrong narratives have been sold out there, and but getting into office, I realized that it's quite different from how we perceive politicians or politics out there. That's does not exonerate the fact that there are few politicians that are not doing enough, but looking inward into the National Assembly where I belong, we have over 360 members. We have more than 40% of us, below the age of 45. I think that's the first time we will have such huge number, and we talk to ourselves. We visit each other's constituencies. We know the sacrifices that we do, but even when you do a lot, and the recipients of this, they already believe that where you're coming from, there is a lot there. The way you're coming from, there is so many things happening there. They tend not to even appreciate the little that you tend to bring to the table. But what I'm trying to say is, it is not exactly how we project it out there. Like I said, to run a corrupt system, it takes more than the political class to run. And I can tell you that what we encounter even at home, what we encounter even before getting into this office, what we go through to sustain this office, it's a lot, and a lot that needs to be looked into as well. Because when you have so much pressure on the political class, and the pressure, the result of it will either determine their return or their their survival in that office. It gets to a point where politicians become so desperate, and they tend to do everything humanly possible to retain that seat. It takes a lot of process. It takes a lot is involved, like I said. And I think we should look beyond just tagging the political class corrupt.
Here's another thing that I had a conversation with Professor Pato told me about, and that's Nigeria's unity. I can almost draw up what may seem like a conclusion that when it comes to parliament, there's some form of cohesion, but it almost doesn't expand beyond the people. Over time, what do you think has gone wrong with Nigeria's unity? Because our diversity is supposed to be our strength. What do you think has gone wrong? And as a young person, what do you think we could do to do right? Or to get it right?
I don't think anything is wrong with our unity. I don't think anything is wrong with our diversity. Because the only time where we echo this topic is, I think it's mostly towards political season. What do I mean by that? I said we have 360 members, heterogeneous, diversified, different members from different constituencies. And I can tell you that I travel virtually all the regions of the country. I visit different constituencies. I sleep over. I stay in my colleagues' constituency. So if there is no unity, I travel as far as north. I travel as far as east. If there is something wrong with our unity, do you think there will be such cordial relationship from someone who happens to be from Lagos, Badagry, all the way to Zamfara, to Borno? So I believe it's just a narrative that is popular, amongst the political class. And but on the streets, I believe that Nigerians are united. You go beyond, go outside Nigeria, you see Nigerians of different culture, different backgrounds staying under the same roof outside the country. You see them talking about the progress and development of Nigeria. We see business bringing us together. So it's only when the era of politics creep in that we start to discuss the issue of.
So who's responsible for that? So who's responsible for that? Is it the people or the political class?
I think it's just a few selected people, and it's a conversation that I believe we should stop. We should stop parading. Nigeria is united. We enjoy relative peace in this country, and I can tell you, with the few years I've stayed in office, I've moved by road to different constituencies and different parts of the country. I know how united we are and how much we love ourselves. And this you can hardly see this in every part of other parts of the world. The tiny issues that we have, I don't think we should spend our time projecting the few words or giving them the few individuals that want to project this unity amongst us. I don't think we should encourage it and give them the platform.
All right, Honorable Sir, just as we say goodbye, I mean, I wouldn't have you here and not have you give a message out, just like I did with Professor Pato. 65 years of independence, you must have something to say, not just to your constituents, because I see you spend a lot of time with your constituents. It's part of that, your responsibility. I mean, you want to come back as well. But speak to the generality of Nigerians, especially the young population, as we celebrate 65 years of independence. What's your message? No, okay, let me even expand that. Not just to the young people. I'd like you to speak to those in power as well. Because, policies would shape a lot. So,
my message is this. At 65, even though we've not had it all smooth, I believe at 65, we have a bright future ahead of us that is vested on the growth and development of great youth that occupies the large population. And I believe that with the massive investment that is in place for us, I believe that we are well equipped to revive and to move this country ahead. And to the political class, we can, if we look closely at what the current administration is pushing, it's an approach that we believe will move governance back to the grassroots where governance is meant to be. Governance doesn't happen at the top. Governance can best be effective only if we allow it to function at the local level. What do I mean? I believe you can be in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, and appropriate funds for the constituency that you don't even know. You can't stay in Abuja and be appropriating funds for development in Badagry. I think we should allow the local government to function across the country. This will hasten up development. What do I mean? Go and check what is happening in Lagos today. Go and see the competitions amongst our local government chairmen. Go and see the kind of projects that they get involved in. Go and see the kind of developmental project that they facilitate at the local level. Go and see what they're doing with their funds. And I'm sure this is what each state in the country should replicate. Nobody can best govern at the top. Let us give more power to the local government. Let us encourage them. Let us allocate more funds to them.
Yeah.
Let us follow the funds, and let us make sure that and I believe that's the best way and the fastest way that the people can enjoy and experience the dividends of growth and development.
Absolutely.
Let our local government work, and that is all I have to say.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting that 65 years as a nation, this is when we are canvassing for development at the local government level. It's not a good thing. It's something that over time would have helped this country get to that closer development stage. But as they say, better late than never. But the bulk of the responsibility is going to have to lie with the political class regardless. But Honorable Ceci Wingan, I'd like to thank you very much for coming to speak with me on Political Paradigm, and happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Celebration.
Yeah. Well, we've been speaking with Honorable Ceci Wingan. He represents Badagry Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. If you'd like to catch this and more, please go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm, or simply go to channelstv.com. Happy Independence Day. Happy 65th Independence Anniversary. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.